Climate change is real. It is happening now, and its impacts are being felt across the globe. It poses an unprecedented threat to our planet and its people, affecting every aspect of life. Simply put, climate change refers to the long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns which are becoming more extreme. These shifts are not natural variations. They are driven by human activities that alter the Earth's atmosphere. They are driven primarily by human activities such as deforestation, industrial processes, and the burning of fossil fuels. The biggest culprit is our reliance on fossil fuels, coal, oil, and gas, which power our industries and vehicles. Burning these fuels releases greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, contributing to global warming. These gases trap heat from the sun, causing the Earth's temperature to rise, leading to more frequent and severe heat waves. This process is known as the greenhouse effect, a natural phenomenon intensified by human actions. The consequences of our actions are already being felt worldwide, from melting ice caps to devastating hurricanes and forest fires. From melting glaciers to extreme weather events, the evidence is undeniable and increasingly alarming. We are living in a world reshaped by climate change, with cities and landscapes being transformed and people becoming climate refugees. The time to act is now. We must embrace renewable energy and sustainable practices. It is a global crisis that demands a global response, with leaders and citizens working together. We must come together as a global community to address this challenge, uniting across borders and cultures. Our future depends on it. The actions we take today will shape the world for generations to come. The Earth's temperature is rising at an alarming rate, a trend that has been observed and documented by scientists worldwide. The past decade was the hottest on record, with each year seemingly surpassing the previous one in terms of average global temperatures. This warming trend is directly linked to the increase in greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, primarily from human activities such as burning fossil fuels and deforestation. Carbon dioxide, the most significant greenhouse gas, has reached levels not seen in millions of years, trapping heat and causing the planet to warm. The oceans, which absorb most of the excess heat, are bearing the brunt of this change, leading to widespread impacts on marine ecosystems. Ocean temperatures are at record highs, leading to coral bleaching, rising sea levels, and more intense storms that devastate coastal communities. The ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica are melting at an accelerated pace, further contributing to sea level rise and threatening coastal habitats. Extreme weather events, such as hurricanes, tornadoes, and floods, are becoming more frequent and intense, causing widespread damage and loss of life. Heat waves are scorching continents, droughts are parching farmlands, and wildfires are raging out of control, destroying homes and habitats. Hurricanes and cyclones are gaining strength, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake and displacing thousands of people. These are not isolated incidents. They are interconnected symptoms of a planet in distress, a clear indication that urgent action is needed. The scientific consensus is clear. Climate change is real, it is human-caused, and it is a grave threat to humanity. We must act now to mitigate its effects and protect our future. Europe is warming faster than any other continent, experiencing unprecedented temperature increases. Its diverse landscapes and ecosystems are particularly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, from the Mediterranean coast to the Arctic tundra. Heat waves are becoming more frequent and intense, leading to heat-related illnesses and deaths, especially among the elderly. These extreme temperatures are pushing healthcare systems to their limits. Southern Europe is facing severe droughts, putting a strain on water resources and agriculture. Farmers are struggling to maintain their crops, and water shortages are becoming a common issue. Wildfires are becoming more common, devastating forests and releasing even more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. These fires not only destroy habitats, but also contribute to the cycle of global warming. Coastal regions are grappling with rising sea levels, threatening infrastructure and displacing communities. The encroaching waters are forcing people to leave their homes and seek safer grounds. The Alps, once a symbol of pristine beauty, are experiencing rapid glacier melt, impacting water supplies and tourism. The loss of glaciers is altering the landscape and affecting local economies dependent on tourism. Northern Europe is seeing increased rainfall and flooding, damaging crops and infrastructure. These floods are becoming more frequent, causing significant economic losses and disrupting daily life. Climate change is testing the resilience of Europe's economies, societies and ecosystems. The challenges are immense, but so is the determination to adapt and find sustainable solutions for the future. Climate change is not an equal opportunity threat. The poorest and most vulnerable populations are disproportionately affected despite contributing the least to the problem. Developing countries, often located in tropical regions, are already experiencing the harshest impacts of climate change. Small island nations face an existential threat from rising sea levels. Droughts and floods are exacerbating food insecurity and poverty in many regions. Climate change is acting as a threat multiplier, intensifying existing inequalities and conflicts. The human cost of climate change is immense and growing. Millions are being displaced from their homes, livelihoods are being destroyed, and lives are being lost. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: inaction is not an option. Section 5. Global Goals, Local Actions. The international community has recognized the urgency of the climate crisis. The Paris Agreement, adopted in 2015, aims to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius, preferably to 1.5 degrees Celsius compared to pre-industrial levels. To achieve this goal, countries have committed to reducing their greenhouse gas emissions and transitioning to cleaner sources of energy. However, current pledges are not ambitious enough to avert the worst impacts of climate change. COP29, the latest UN climate summit, saw renewed calls for action and increased financial support for developing countries. But progress remains slow, and the gap between ambition and action remains wide. Section 6. Adapting to a changing world. While we strive to mitigate climate change, we must also adapt to its unavoidable consequences. Adaptation measures vary depending on the specific challenges faced by different regions. Coastal communities need to invest in sea walls and other protective infrastructure. Cities can reduce the urban heat island effect by planting trees and creating green spaces. Farmers need to adopt drought-resistant crops and water-efficient irrigation techniques. Early warning systems for extreme weather events can save lives and property. Adaptation is not an option, but a necessity. It requires significant investments, technological innovation, and international cooperation. Section 7. Every action counts. Addressing climate change requires a collective effort, but individual actions matter too. We can all make choices that reduce our carbon footprint and contribute to a more sustainable future. Simple changes in our daily lives can make a difference. We can reduce our reliance on cars by walking, cycling, or using public transportation. We can conserve energy at home by using energy-efficient appliances and reducing our reliance on heating and cooling. We can make conscious consumer choices by buying local, reducing food waste, and supporting sustainable businesses. Every action counts, no matter how small. By making sustainable choices, we can reduce our impact on the planet and inspire others to do the same. As Section 8, the time for complacency is over. Climate change is the defining challenge of our time. It is a threat to our planet, our economies, and our very existence. The time for complacency is over. We can no longer afford to delay action or deny the science. The longer we wait, the more severe the consequences will be. We need bold, decisive action now to avert the worst-case scenarios. The future of humanity depends on the choices we make today. We have the knowledge, the technology, and the resources to address this crisis. What we need is the political will and the collective determination to act. Section 9. Our collective responsibility. Climate change is a global problem that requires a global solution. We must work together as a global community to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, invest in renewable energy, and build a more sustainable future. Governments, businesses, and individuals all have a role to play. We need strong leadership, innovative solutions, and a shared commitment to protecting our planet for future generations. The Earth is our only home. Let us act now to preserve it for ourselves and for generations to come. The time for action is now. The future is in our hands.